Hey, everybody, and welcome to Inferno Cast episode 029. I am, of course, Inferno Fox of the Inferno Fox Gaming channel here on YouTube, where you can also find our podcast, which is also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. Got a really fun topic here for us today, as we always do. But before we get into it, I want to go ahead and introduce my fantastic cast. First up, we have Stormrosesky of the Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we also have Simbu Darkfang. He is the level 5 grandpa and main actor for Basement of the Dead, located in Aurora, Illinois. And is he the best player at Fortnite? We will find out on this special episode today. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, I'm always glad to be a popsicle here on the cart of ice cream.
Yes, we are all freezing. This weather stinks. We hate it. Well, some of us hate it. There's some of us that like it.
The cold never bothered me anyway.
Exactly. Next up, we've got Mobster, my best friend, and fellow football fanatic, although we will not be footballing it up. Instead, we will be Fortniting it up. Mobster, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And next we have Jason the 13th of the YouTube channel Jason the 13th. Jason, thanks again for joining.
Not a problem at all.
We also have Astrimedes, developer and co-owner of Second Place Games. If you're not first, you're Second Place Games. Astrimedes, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Glad to make it back this week.
Absolutely. And last, and certainly not least, we have my partner and partner in crime, Jamie Owls. Thanks for joining us on this discussion as well.
Thanks for having me.
And Jamie Owls, while you are there, I'm going to open up the pre-discussion topic with you and ask you, what video games are you playing right now, Jamie Owls?
I recently started playing the Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I started that on Sunday. It's been a long time since I played it. And the reason for that, reason why I picked that game is because, as you know, the first trilogy remastered version is going to be coming out in a month, which I'm really excited for. So I figured to start playing some Tomb Raider games now up until the February 14th rolls around. So just to keep myself a little busy. And of course, still slowly playing Mario Wonder. I've been playing that with you, which is a lot of fun, of course. But yeah, those are the two games I'm currently playing.
Awesome. And I was really happy to see that you finished Resident Evil 3, I think it was
Yes.
last week. So you have now completed all of the new and remake versions of Resident Evil. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Astromedes, how about you? What you currently playing?
I'm playing a little bit of Inscription, as I've been playing for a while. I also I played Faith a little bit too, another horror game. I found I had not actually purchased Faith the Unholy Trinity on Steam, which has Faith 1, 2, and 3, kind of old school retro weird horror games. So I played a little bit of that. And a little bit of Darkest Dungeon 2, which I've also been playing a while. I did a lot of hunting for games, actually, with not a lot of great results.
No, it sounds like you've been able to dive in a bit on some good entries. Cool to hear that you're still playing Darkest Dungeon a bit too.
Yeah, Darkest Dungeon and Inscription definitely kind of have legs, it seems like, in terms of I'll keep playing them for a while. Inscription, I think I probably don't have a whole lot longer that I'll keep playing with that. I think I kind of get the kind of rest of the rest of the game here. Like I got past the main ending sort of thing. And now there's a called Casey's mod. It's supposed to be a mod that was made by a possibly killed or something as a result of the game tester, it seems. Is kind of like the lore setup of why this mod exists that you play after the game. But I don't think there's a whole lot more for me to see. I definitely won't be able to achieve everything in there. Darkest Dungeon 2, though, I suspect I will kind of keep going and coming back to that one for a while longer.
Cool. Very nice. Jason, how about you? What's currently got your attention besides Pokemon?
Well, besides Pokemon and besides Fortnite, I started up Mario RPG, and Simbu got me started on the Shredder's Revenge, so I need to get into those a bit more.
Nice, very good. Hopefully the Beat 'em Ups podcast that we did last week on Wednesday kind of helped prime you and get you ready for the Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
Nice. Storm, how about you? What you currently playing?
God of War Ragnarok. Making my way through that. I just had to upgrade him and Freya a little bit, Kronos and Freya a little bit in order to fight some more of the super bad guys. I forgot their names for a moment. The Berserkers. Oh my God, what a pain in the butt they are. And also I started playing more Mario Wonder today. So
Mhm.
I had played it when I first got it, went through a couple of levels, and then, today went through a couple more. So just slowly picking my way through those. Obviously Fortnite. So and that's why we're here.
Nice. Very cool. And Simbu, how about you?
Well, I played a little Mario Wonder, and then played a little Shredder's Revenge with Jason the 13th the other day when it was out here. I borrowed Breath of the Wild from Jason the 13th. I tried it long ago when it first, roughly when it first ish came out. Wasn't terribly impressed, but to be fair, I was playing on the Switch Lite, so basically, picture for those of you who don't know, the Switch Lite has the screen size of roughly an Android phone. So very, very small. Didn't hold my attention then. I figured now that I have an actual Switch, I'd give it a good old college try. And of course, Fortnite, and that's pretty much it.
Nice. And Mobster, how about you? What are you currently playing right now?
I expected a laundry list from Simbu over there, but that was quite short.
That was last year.
Do we include phone games or no?
Yeah, that's a game.
Why not?
My main ones are Fortnite and Rocket League, and I just learned not too long ago that Rocket League has a phone game called Rocket League Sideswipe. So those are the main ones that I'm playing, and that's pretty much it.
Very cool.
Okay, if we're gonna include phone games, let me throw a couple more out there. Because Monopoly Go, I've been just got invited to and freaking hooked on, and Disney Emoji Blitz, and of course Words with Friends. Those are just dailies that, now have to do. Carry on.
Nice. So for our audience here, if you can kind of catch a little trend here, we've got 2/3 of us that play a little game called Fortnite, and that is, of course, our topic for today. It's something that I like to call fork knife, which thanks Adam Ruins Everything. And it's really something that's kind of bonded us together in a way where Simbu and I would sort of BS while we're playing fork knife on squads, and talk about video games,
Trios.
Odds.
and we're just like, we're talking about video games, having a really interesting conversation. I'm a white guy. I have a microphone. Let's do a podcast. So, here we are. We're just a bunch of friends, talking about video games and having a lot of fun. And it's really Fortnite for me was sort of the inspiration for the podcast itself. So, thank you, Fortnite. Really brief history about it itself, in case the viewer doesn't know it. Forknife itself was released at early access back in July of 2017 with the subtitle Save the World. And it was actually a cooperative third-person looter shooter and tower defense survival game. But the version of the game that we know it today, and what we're mostly going to talk about, is easily the Battle Royale version. And that released in September of 2017. And there's very small amount of controversy about that, because there's some people that think that Epic Games, the creators of Fortnite, had copied PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds or PUBG's Battle Royale format. Though it should be noted that PUBG released its early access version in March of 2017. So again, PUBG did release its Battle Royale about 6 months before Epic did their version of Battle Royale for Fortnite. So I'm going to kind of open the floor a little bit and just kind of ask each of our crew here to give their own personal history with the game. I'm gonna start off here because I actually started playing Fortnite in early 2018 after I noticed the BR games, Battle Royale games in PUBG and Fortnite were catching steam. I played for a couple hours on the PS4, realized the addictive nature of the gameplay, and that's all it took to put the game aside, set it aside, and say, nope, because it's so addictive. I'm going to waste all my time on it. I want to play, more games rather than just the one. And I was the only one at the time that played it. Now, under the delusion that I'm older and have more self-control, I have been playing regularly since September 2022, again, with everyone here on the Inferno Cast crew. The latter point that I made about not having people playing, yeah, that fortunately got resolved for me, and I've been brought into the fold, as it were. So I'm gonna start off with first with Jason the 13th, then Storm, and then I'll kind of take it from there. But I'm starting off with Jason the 13th because he's the one that kind of got me back into it. And one of the cool things with Jason is he's the kind of guy that he'll always try new games and new stuff. And I used to kind of not really be that way, but he's the one that actually got me into Fortnite. He's the one that got me to play like the 2 newest Pokemon games, because it's like I want to be more like Jason instead of be like Mike. Be like Jason, because he's got that open attitude to play games. So the 3 points that I'll ask will apply to you all, but Jason, I want you to open up on this first, and then Storm. But Jason, when did you first start playing Fortnite? What or who brought you into it? And how often do you currently play today?
All right, well, let's start off with who, because that was the first thing. My nephew wanted to play it and got me into playing it because it was him, me, and his dad, my older brother. The 3 of us were playing it all. I started in Chapter 2, Season 4 with all the Marvel characters, which was like perfect time to get me hooked into the game. If it was a different season, I may not be as hooked as I am still to it, but the Marvel season definitely kicked it all off for me. I'm still playing here and there pretty regularly, but not as hardcore as I was. It all depends on the season for the most part. And the battle pass, the last battle pass and this battle pass isn't anything like, oh my God, to write home about. So I haven't been just steadily grinding on it. I've just been playing here and there with the last couple battle passes.
Gotcha. No, that's cool. Yeah, and the whole battle pass system is something that we'll touch upon a little bit later, and kind of adds to the whole Fortnite being free to play, and really not so much freemium, because one of the things I really have to give a lot of credit to Fortnite is that it's not pay to play. You don't have to pay money to be able to to do well in the game. You're just paying for skins and
Cosmetics.
emoticons, and your emotes and stuff like that. So Storm, how about you? When was it that you first started playing? What brought you into it, and how often do you play today?
When I first started playing was about October 2018. A friend of ours at the time was playing and introduced me to Fortnite. So, and he suggested buying the battle pass. And as long as you bought, one battle pass and played enough, you could afford to renew it every time. Like you would get the same amount of V-Bucks. So my original battle pass, I lasted on that forever because I hardly ever bought skins. Now that's just a joke. It's, it's exploded. But I no longer really play with that friend of ours. I don't want to just dox him, so I won't say his name. So it's been fun having, everyone here to play with because after a bit I didn't have anyone to play with, so I stopped going into autofills because it's toxic doing autofills and you run into
Yes.
a lot of little buttheads that one of the last times I was in one of those autofills, there was some buttheads that had to be just racist buttheads. And so, yeah. So that was my last time doing autofills. And since then, I've just been doing solo stuff. And Fortnite, I've played almost every day consistently since that 2018, except when Animal Crossing came out. And then Animal Crossing took over my life, so to speak. And then Fortnite, I would play it every other day or so. But since then, pretty much every day when I can.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny. That's why I wanted to make sure to call on you second, because of the fact that you were the longest running person to play the game, not counting me, and I'm not counting me because just because I might have played it first within the crew, that sure as heck doesn't mean I'm anywhere near the skill, the longevity, the amount of hours, the uh endearing the appreciation for the game or anything like that. So that all of the, just that one thing that I mentioned means nothing, because if there's anything, like, I really have a huge appreciation for you and Jason when it comes to Fork Knife. But speaking of appreciation, let me ask Mobster, because Mobster is one of the ones that Jason the 13th got into the fold, like myself. Mobster, I think, joined 3 months before I did. If I'm remembering that, did I get that right? And the whom brought you into it, and how often are you playing, Mobster?
Yeah, I was gonna say probably 2, 3 months before you started is when I really started to get into it. Um, of course, Jason the 13th, he got me into it because of our nephew. He tried to get me into it earlier on, probably when he first started, and I played maybe a handful of matches or something, and I just couldn't do build. I was like, nope, this is too much. Ridiculous. I'm not dealing with it. He'll stick with my Halo. Thank you very much. And then a little time goes by, and Jason 13's like, hey, you really need to try Fortnite again. And I'm like, why? I was like, I didn't want to, play or whatever. And he's like, well, they made a no build mode, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. I was like, oh, really? So I got to worry about shooting people and killing them. That sounds great to me. I'm all in. So ever since then, I've been playing. And I say I play regularly. Maybe not every single day, but definitely multiple times a week. If it wasn't for life, I'd play probably more.
So
But
so
yeah,
that of course begs the question: if zero but build mode was never introduced, would you have continued playing it?
I probably would never got into it. Just was not an aspect of a game that I was really interested in learning and trying to figure out and spend the time to get good at when I don't have that time.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you, Mobster. Just the simple fact that, like, I find the building aspect of it intriguing and curious, but just the whole battle royale cross like Minecraft sort of cross gunplay thing just didn't like. I'm like, see, it's fun and like it appeals to like a lot of senses, but I'm like, I don't know if it's as good enough to want to keep like catch my attention all the time. Like, I don't know, like if there's one thing that really great about Fortnite, it's the gunplay. So maybe that could have been part of it, but we'll touch on that shortly. Simbo, I also want to ask you the same questions that I asked everyone here, of course, which is when you first started playing, what or who brought you in, and how often that you play today.
So, original attempt at the game was back when they did the first Star Wars event. I can't remember for which Star Wars movie, but they brought out Rey and Kylo Ren, and you're running around the BR map as them. And I tried it. Now, remember at the time I didn't have home internet, so kind of hard to play online games with no home internet. But I was working in the escape rooms at the time, and we were, it was my bosses were cool enough to say, hey, if you want to bring on your PlayStation and play, while there's nothing going on, feel free. So I would go down there and snag their internet. Of course, when I didn't have an escape room or anything going on, because there was ungodly long stretches where there'd be nothing happening, but we still had to be there. I remember trying it out, didn't like it, put it aside. Again, it was no home internet, so no point, not a big deal if it was like whatever. Put it away for a while, and then Jason the 13th over there, who's probably, just his mustache, his evil mustache over there. Old Wild West villain. He was talking about it, and I had just barely started getting an internet at the house, so I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I started playing in Chapter 2, Season 5, which was the release of The Mandalorian in the Battle Pass, so good place for me to start. And ever since then, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's play. Sometimes it's And then there's sometimes where I will power bomb the creative stuff to get the high level early and complete the battle pass early. And then, as everyone who watched our end of the year wrap up video knows, I can move on to freely playing other stuff without having to worry.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good thing to be able to move up and move on and do other stuff, because Fortnite on its own and playing with friends can be a lot of fun, and it's a good game in its own right, but it's not the only game. There's other. I mean, you had what, 82 PlayStation games alone. I mean, there's a lot of different entries, games, and everything out there. But we're not talking about those. We are talking about Fortnite. Seriously though, you make a good point, and kind of Jason touched upon that a bit there too, where there are certain battle passes that are available, and one of the things with Fortnite itself is that with these battle passes they offer, so you either pay for the battle pass just like any live service game, where you then have to continue to play the game, reach levels to be able to unlock certain skins. One of the things with Fortnite is that like 99.9% of the time, whatever skin that is in a battle pass will not return, and that's thereby the incentive to get it. So like this current season, this chapter and season is muscular Peter Griffin. So if you like Peter Griffin and you like muscles, then hey, muscular Peter Griffin is there for you. Other battle passes had like Deadpool and Geralt from the Witcher and everything like that. So it's cool. It adds a benefit, some sort of compulsion to play. But if you're not interested in that kind of stuff, then you're not. It's not going to catch your eye. And the modes themselves don't really change, except they do as the game continues to get older, age, and expand. But we'll touch upon that shortly. Astrimedes, instead of asking you the same questions, because out of all of us, you're one of the few that don't play regularly Fortnite with us. So one of the things that we had talked about in conversation outside of the last Inferno cast is that you try a match or two, kind of to get yourself ready for it. Have you done so? Will you be playing more? When will you be playing more? And when will you wear wigs?
So first time I touched it was last night. After attempting Saturday to so I'd install I already had the Epic Game Launcher installed. It was having some weird issues to the point where I had to uninstall and reinstall it because I hadn't touched it in a while. Then I had to wait for Fortnite to install. Then I had to upgrade my graphics driver apparently for Fortnite. So my first attempt on whatever day that was incomplete. So I finally got to play it last night. I played probably about maybe 5 matches. And overall, it was so I played Battle Royale, of course. I just wanted to keep it simple and play, the main mode. I was playing, I did not choose no build because I did not plan to even try to build myself. I had told myself I'm not even going to worry about that, but I am curious to see if anyone else is doing that kind of thing, just kind of observe it. I saw no building actually going on. That's probably due to the fact that I, obviously did not do super well. I shockingly though, so okay, I played about 5 matches. In the first match, I didn't kill anyone. I basically hid in a building pretty much the entire match and then died when I fumbled when someone did show up, immediately revealed myself and got shot as I kind of didn't understand the mechanics of my weapon or anything else. And I was surprised though, like a match or two later, I had killed a guy. I'd placed like in the 20s. I was kind of surprised that I placed in the 20s like every time, having no idea what I'm doing, not doing anything at all clever, literally just running around trying to get a handle kind of on the weapons and the basic kind of feel of the game. But it was admittedly it was more fun than I had kind of expected, even though like kind of those sort of like not FPS, but sort of just shooter, very straightforward shooter type games don't necessarily normally appeal to me. But the mechanics of dropping in were pretty fun. I kind of enjoyed that there was sort of like the skydiving versus glider, the kind of interesting little element. You see other people coming down, so you can kind of get an idea, maybe change your mind based on someone else kind of showing up near the area you were going for or something. I found that sort of interesting. I mean, my main complaint, honestly, is just how long it takes to do everything. Just another menu, another loading screen. And admittedly, my computer is, not the best. It's getting a bit long in the tooth now. I'm not running this on a solid state drive. I get that some of this is my problem and inherent to PC games. But on the other hand, it's just, man, there's a lot of screens to do anything and such expensive, pointless cinematics. But I mean, so all that said, the last match I played, I got in a prolonged firefight. I killed like 4 people because I'd stocked up on things inside a building, and it was that last match I played was the most kind of fun I had with it. I was just sort of impressed that as an idiot who doesn't know what he's doing, I was able to, run in and do something and enjoy doing it. My main complaint, as I said, was just the kind of like pain of all those loading screens and battle pass this and customize that and all that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's one of the things that Fork Knife, it has a kind of a wide entry point at the expense of the speed and everything like that. I know us Switch players, all of us have played the game to an extent on a Switch system, either a little bit like myself and maybe Simbu, and a lot being like Jason and Storm. So the Switch being not a strong system at all, I definitely understand and can appreciate the issues that you had just with like the loading and the screens and everything like that. One thing that Astrimedes is dealing with that all of us don't is like the epic launcher Bojazz that he has to deal with, because that's an additional layer. Whereas all of us playing on console, oh, it's just one of the many of the icons that we just select and pull up and loads instantaneously for Jason, Simbu, Storm, myself, and well, I guess Mobster. I mean, he's on the Xbox Series X. I guess that were his loads pretty quick.
Yes, that's a console.
Yeah, I guess that loads pretty
Don't be a
quick.
hater.
So good.
Probably
I'm
loads
glad.
quicker than the PS5.
It is. That so
0.02 seconds. Ooh, I'm so scared.
it's that 0.02 seconds that counts in a firefighter, right, Mobster?
Yeah, damn straight.
I mean, that's a firefight though, and that's not a loading screen. He has a faster loading screens.
So
Life is a battle, Simbu.
yes. So based on the conversation so far, Jamie Owls, you haven't played Fork Knife at all. If you
I have
do, you
not.
have to play on your Switch, because I if we play together, I'm gonna play on the PS5. Do you see yourself playing Fork Knife at all? And if not, what sort of roadblocks would keep you from playing?
I have thought about it, and honestly, the only reason I would play is just more I just want to explore. I don't feel like killing people. I just want to look around at stuff, but there are times I've been curious because, as you know, I mostly watch you play and others. I don't have an interest in joining. However, there are times where I thought about it. I will give it a try. I'm mostly open to trying new games, at least give it a shot. When I do play, though, I don't want to play live because I don't want to play with people who I don't know. I rather play with people who I'm comfortable with and won't yell at me. Hopefully not. Uh, but yeah, I'm open to trying. Not against it.
One of the things, of course, with Fork Knife that Simbu alluded to is the fact that internet connectivity is pretty much required for that. So if you'd play, you would have to play with other people, real people. So I think
Okay.
the best crew probably would be, let's see, probably myself, Storm, and then
Me, because also don't know what I'm doing. I'd be willing
Oh, yeah.
to give it a shot.
yeah, or maybe Mobster, so that Mobster can yell at you a bit. What are you doing? Don't pick up that. That's
Guys
not
to your
your
left,
weapon.
shoot to your left.
No, yeah, it'd be fun to the map. The nice thing is there's a lot of exploration that can happen. The map is friggin' huge. The problem is that you can have the map totally explored after about 4 or 5 matches if you're quick about finding and really looking for everything. Really, the fun, of course, is the different. You can really have a different game every single time, just based on how the storm circle closing in on the map itself and basically siphoning off people, and making and funneling people. That's it, funneling people to like a more enclosed spot. So, but yeah, it would definitely be something. Really, any of us, honestly. You got a thing where myself, I obviously I'd be patient and help you with that. Storm's got patience, experience, and skill. Jason, the same thing. Mobster's got the skill and the understanding. Astrimedes has nothing, so you'd have something comparable. And Simbu.
I played it like a horror game. You could take that same approach. I basically I don't know what I'm doing. Everyone's way more powerful than me because they know what they're doing. So I'm gonna get a bunch of guns and hide in a closet like a horror movie character.
And just watch out for the storm. Watch out for the
Yep.
storm.
We'll probably end up running away from people.
Yeah,
That's what I
possibly,
did.
Maybe you'll be like, why is it like cloudy and raining?
Yeah,
Why am I dying?
why is that green bar going down? What is that green bar? Oh, and that's it. That's the match. So this question is going to be for both Simbu and Mobster, and I'm just kind of curious because you both have Simbu. You got a lot of experience just in games in general, and as well as with like over-the-shoulder shooters and military shooters, and Mobster mostly the latter. How do you feel, or how comparable is the gunplay itself in Fork Knife to military shooters? First person ones like Call of Duty or Halo or Simbu, stuff like even stuff like Uncharted. So again, first person titles are different from Fork Knife since Fork Knife is over the shoulder. But again, like just kind of thoughts on the gunplay. Simbu, if you don't mind leading off.
Well, up until this most recent season, Fortnite employed scan shooting. So what that means is, unless you were using a sniper rifle, there wasn't any bullet drop. So like an assault rifle, if I aimed at your head, the bullet would go at your head with an assault rifle. Now, if I did the same thing with a sniper rifle, depending on distance from you, I would have to either arc my shot or, shoot off to the right, lead the target and then arc my shot in order to try and get that headshot. What Fortnite did in this current season is they employed bullet mechanics. So now it's more like a military shooter. It's more like, some of these games like Call of Duty where they have the bullet drop on all weapons, not just, one type. It takes some getting used to, especially for, playing so long that it's like, oh, why is my assault rifle, that doesn't make sense. But now it's like, okay, they have all of it has bullet drop. And it makes sense to do that now because they've introduced the attachments. So now you can put scopes on your weapons. You can do stuff to reduce your ADS time, which is ADS is aim down sights for those who don't know. Reduce recoil, reduce your spread. Spread, of course, being like for a shotgun blast, instead of a big V, it's a little bit more of a compact V for the shot. And recoil, of course, is you're holding the trigger down and the gun tends to walk upwards or walk to the right or walk to the left, generally up. So all those kind of things definitely, bring that whole, more realism to the bullet, to the gunplay. However, at the same time, I really wish they would have stuck with the scan shoot for most weapons. I really do think the sniper rifle is the only ones that should require extra skill to use. But I mean, it is what it is. It's not terrible. It did take some getting used to transferring over, skill sets and whatnot and remastering, these things, which I'm still not a master of. Don't let Inferno Fox lie to you. But all in all, I would honestly say that it's more comparable to Call of Duty and Halo, and as being an over-the-shoulder shooter, it's kind of nice because all my cosmetics and that I put on, I actually get to see, versus like a game like Halo or Call of Duty where the only time I see it is in like a kill cam or in a loading screen, which is kind of like, what's the point of spending money on cosmetics if I don't get to see it? It's my philosophy with the weapon skins for Fortnite. I don't see them, so I really don't care.
It's funny. It kind of makes me think of Skyrim or Oblivion. When you do character creation, you set your character up for like 5, 10, 15, 60 minutes, and then you never see it because it's in that kind of stock first person view. But you make some interesting points in regards to like the whole gunplay itself. Mobster, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously the number one biggest difference is the fact it's a third person shooter as opposed to a first person shooter. That alone takes a little bit of adjusting to get too used to. I was a big first person shooter used to that, as Halo was my game. I liked it. I felt like playing Fortnite after playing Halo. I felt like I was better at Halo, and I was like, why? Is it because is the first person shooter deal compared to the third person shooter? And after this new season of Fortnite, I'm thinking it's not necessarily the fact that it's a third person shooter or first person shooter. I think the bullet drop is a big deal. I like it. I like the change. I think it's more realistic. It makes it definitely more, if you want to say, militaristic in a sense. I mean, it's a graphic wise is nowhere close to that, but I mean, shooting style, yes, it's more realistic in my opinion, and I think it makes me better. I think I'm better. I'm more used to that. So that is kind of back in my wheelhouse, and everybody who's not used to it is now struggling a little bit to get used to it. And I feel even the sniper rifles have a little bit more of the bullet drop than what they did before this season. So making it tougher for everybody else who's used to the way it was. And now I feel like, hey, for some reason I'm doing a little bit better. And I'm like, that's really the big main difference. And it makes sense, especially like with what Simbu said about being able to put all the different mods on it. You can put scopes on any weapon, I think, just about, even shotguns, which I think is the stupidest thing. But so like if you're looking through a scope of something and you're shooting a long distance, there's gonna be bullet drop. It doesn't matter if it's a sniper rifle or not. So I mean, that's why I think it's been like not beneficial, but I think it's better and good and more realistic.
That's really interesting to hear the change from hit scan to the bullet physics. I wasn't like aware of a game that had like made that switch over. It's a huge change. It's interesting.
Yeah. Like
were people clamoring for it? Is that why they did it, or did it just kind of come out of nowhere?
To me, it kind of came out of nowhere. Just like booting up the new season, and all of a sudden, I'm shooting a guy with an assault rifle, and I'm like hitting diddly squat, even though my cursor is on point. Even with the sniper rifle, sometimes my cursor, I've led the target perfectly. I've got the, what I assume usually is the proper lob for the shot, and it just completely misses. And it's like, wait, what? How?
I guess it keeps things fresh too. It might make the game more welcoming to an extent if you can switch up the mechanics periodically, so everybody's kind of slightly off kilter or something.
Yeah, and if anything, it just shows how in the last like what going to be 7 years, Epic has continued to expand the game, going from like Unreal 3 to 4 now to Unreal 5, as well as adding new parts of the storyline, guns, features, and as we kind of discuss, aspects of gameplay. And as I mentioned, they married their own Unreal Engine updates to Fortnite itself, which is really kind of cool. It's almost kind of like a sort of like beta view or beta test for other developers for Epic to say, hey, this is what Unreal 5 would look like. Look how great it looks. And this is just very boilerplate type of animation and aesthetic and look and everything like that. I mean, I would have to figure that after all of the crazy bojazz with Unity, it only had more people moving and flocking to the Unreal Engine over that. But hopefully all the Unreal or all the Unity bojazz is kind of like tampered down. Also, it obviously goes without saying, they've added additional modes beyond stuff like the zero build mode. We have just gotten additions such as Lego Fork Knife. You got Rocket Racing, Fork Knife Festival, and all of the creator-based content. And that's a whole rabbit hole in of itself. But kind of sticking with the Epic endorse modes, general questions for you guys, and Storm, I'm gonna lead off with you on this. Just wondering, Storm, if you know or if you see Epic adding any additional modes what you think that they could be. If you have any thoughts on what their ultimate plan would be regarding any additional game mode expansions, and just kind of get your thoughts on those.
You know, right now I don't I don't know. I don't see them other than maybe expanding something with the Fortnite festival and adding I think they're working on making that so it's more verses where you can play side by side, so you're playing a track and we're both playing the same track but challenging each other instead of playing with each other. Um they've done a lot this year, so maybe doing something with Lego Fortnite to help its numbers because it, did so well when it came out and it's come crashing down. So maybe bringing something in for the interest in that. It has been fun to see its evolution, though, over the years. The creative mode is far, 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 far bigger and more impressive than it was back in the day. It was, I remember when the creative mode was brand new and you could open a map and just, explore the map without worried about getting killed or anything. And I think they still have the ability to do that. So if Jamie Owls wanted to just putz around the map, there is an ability to do that. But it's been fun to see now what people can create versus what you used to be able to create, and it's astonishing. So maybe they'll make more areas for that, but you have to, in order for the creatives to draw people in, giving XP is a huge thing. That is why some of the epic based things have also done well, is because if you want to get your battle pass stuff done, you need the XP to get, unlock some of that. So if you want people to explore other modes, make it worth their time, So as far as anything else, I don't know what they could add right now. If it would be anything sports related, maybe,
I could
but
totally see them doing sports stuff with how much they like their sports.
yeah, I
Like
could see a
added
basketball.
soccer, basketball,
Right.
football,
Rumor has it that is coming.
I could see those coming into it, but I don't, again, all of those sports games have enough of their own platform games that how popular would it be? Because I think the Rocket League is popular within Fortnite a little bit, but the Fortnite Festival has always had more numbers in it in that mode because I think there are other racing platforms. If I want to play a racer game, Fortnite is not my first go-to to think about, oh, let me launch Fortnite to go play Rocket League, I'm not dissing it, it's just the nature of the thing. If I want to play racers, there are others, like I'll play Mario Kart or Disney Speedstorm before I'll log into Fortnite. So I wonder if they'll run into that issue, but we'll never know, and I will stop talking now.
No, yeah, I was gonna say good information to have, and I feel like you're spot on with the sport mode. If anything, it'd have to be more like an arcade experience, like an NBA Jam or an NFL Blitz, more than an actual like sport game, like how Madden works, or even like Tiger Woods or something like that. Although I wouldn't put it past them having some sort of like hot shots type golf mode. Yeah, I think that would be the only kind of thing, because you put it so well, where like just normal sports Bojazz is like, okay, the 1/3 of all video game sales, I know I've beaten that stat down like so many times, I've said it in the cast, but 1/3 of sport game players only, or 1/3 of all video game players play sports games, and usually that's all that they play. And then another third is military shooters or looter shooters, or stuff like that, and that's all that they play. So Forknife being in that second camp, thinking that they can start encroaching in the first, I'm kind of with you on that. It'd have to be something more like start small, start in an arcade experience with the sports, and then kind of grow from there.
Mhm.
Jason, kind of want your thoughts on this too. Do you see Epic doing any additional modes, and if you believe what you think their ultimate plan would be with these kind of modes?
I could definitely see him doing other stuff. As to what they would pick, I don't exactly know. My biggest thought was doing sports stuff because they do have a lot of sports collabs. But if they don't do the sports stuff, then maybe it'll be some other kind of like mini game stuff that they might add in. And I don't know, I'm not thinking like mini games like a Mario Party mini games, but like some kind of things like how you've got all the content creators out there that make like the death runs and stuff like that, that maybe they do something along those lines, but an actual epic one rather than all the creator ones out there.
Roll Fortnite blocks.
Yeah.
Because there is the creator content has gotten big enough that some of those creator content makers are getting money back. They're making money, and Epic has stated that the money that they're making has been lower because of the money that they have to give back to those content creators. So the whole idea of row fork knife blocks, I don't think you're that far off. Like really. Speaking on that, and Astrimedes would I know you've got probably the now you got the most amount of experience out of all of us with fork knife and how the game runs and everything.
Yeah, I'm a real pro now.
Since you're a pro, and I'm gonna have you apply the Dunning-Kruger effect here. What kind of additional modes would you see Epic adding or wanting to add?
I think like seeing like the amount and kind of variety of these modes, and even though I haven't played, like I've been kind of obviously aware of the game and hearing they've been kind of adding these modes over time, particularly these last whatever it is, couple years, 2 years or so. Is that what a lot of this has been going on? But it seems to me like what I'm kind of guessing is going on, that like first of all, adding any mode is probably going to bring people back to the game that have maybe stopped playing it and just need an excuse to check it out again. And then what they might be doing with that too is like they might be just doing a kind of shotgun approach. Like we're going to try all these different modes. Like many of them, like I suspect they'll even maybe start to get kind of more weird, creator stuff. Yeah, it makes perfect sense too, but on a similar angle. But like I think maybe they're seeing like, can we get lucky with like one that will stick? 'Cause I mean, that's essentially how the game first really had its second life, isn't it? Like it pivoted. And I think just trying different, they'll keep adding different modes, kind of see what sticks, gives them a nice sandbox to experiment with some weird stuff. So like I'm not sure, like I think the sports game thing kind of like makes sense, but it does feel like it would be pretty bland and pointless if it was just like a normal, a football game, a normal golf game. I would agree with Inferno Fox, where what would make more sense and what would probably be easier to implement too is to like take some subset, like one part of that sport, one part of the game, and then just like make its own sort of like altered rules, like miniature version of it, like have there be fewer players when there would be a lot more players, and change this about the rules or whatever to kind of make it more interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think derivative sports games, probably, or derivative sports games meaning like a game derived out of a sports game that's something different. So I think we will definitely see like some of those, just because it's an obvious choice. And beyond that, like I bet, I don't know, it feels like they want like a kind of like almost more like an Uncharted experience potentially supported by something like this. So I would guess something that evokes a more cinematic action game mode would be added, like a disaster mode where it's more like all the players are somehow fleeing from the same disaster and less fighting each other. That might be in keeping with the general vibe of it, but yeah, I don't know. I would guess they're going to add a lot of things, probably remove things maybe if they don't retain kind of players. And I'm thinking they're mainly just doing it as a way to kind of keep people coming back, with the side benefit of if they do kind of really strike it rich with a new idea, that will draw in even more people that have never played the game before. But it's like what they say about updates. Like sometimes if you're smart about like a big kind of Steam update or whatever is in a game, it can be a form of marketing. if you keep kind of like pushing out there that you're doing this big update, you're adding this thing. So in a similar nature, like adding these modes allow them to not worry about breaking anything about the kind of like main game modes, but do something that kind of looks impressive and different on first glance to draw a player back.
Yeah, and it's funny you say about the new modes bringing players back, because the opposite occurred just recently with the previous season, because the previous season they brought the old style, the original map back, and it was actually that brought a number of the old players back into the game when Epic saw the highest player count ever because they brought their old stuff back. It was a thing where it's like, okay, let's ride the nostalgia train because that's a whole thing. And then immediately after that season, that was a shortened one, is when they added in Fork Knife Festival, Rocket Racing, Lego Fork Knife, and then okay, all the old dogs are still back, and then now they're bringing in even more people because they've got all these additional modes, and they continue to break records for concurrent player usage with that newest season because of all the new stuff that they added into the main game and all those new modes, and just it was I felt like it was one of the best planned executions for such a long time live service game. Like it's something that like I feel like it almost rivals Final Fantasy 14 A Realm Reborn's literal rebirth with how it brought a real crap game from the ashes for that MMORPG. It's almost like that, except hey, Fork Knife, they weren't doing bad. The player count and everything was down, but they still had, 500,000 to a million concurrent players. Well, now with that 1-2 punch, it's like they've all come back. Of course, it's died down a bit now, but it's still not as low as it was like a season or two beforehand. So you definitely bring up a lot of good points in regards to what helps to bring people in. And it's funny you mentioned about having like a story mode, and I think that there's essentially like a concurrent running story while you're gaming that you can kind of follow through, as well as like a main story. My next question I'm gonna direct first at Simbu, but before I get into that, and Simbu, feel free to comment on my thoughts. The additional modes that I see Fork Knife doing, I could see them again some sort of sport mode, because again, Epic also owns the Rocket League, and they had the ingenuity to pair RC cars with soccer, and the amount of fun and the depth that such a simple type of gameplay has, that they were able to establish with that is ingenious. So I could see them doing again some sort of sport thing like that. I could see them uh, playing off the whole 2D aspect of things, where maybe they have a 2D mode where it's like sort of a platform shooter where Astrimedes, if you think something like Soldat, something like that, but maybe a little bit more zoomed in, or
I
maybe
think they're unlikely to do that only because if they're so tied to Unreal Engine, while of course you can do 2D things in Unreal, I feel like the developers just don't think in 2D and probably won't do that. That's my hot take guess on your guess.
counter to your counter is the fact that Epic is the one that owns Unreal. So if there's anybody that knows how to use the engine that way, it's them. And as we know, they're like anything and everything could be made in Unreal. Heck, Tetris Effect was made in Unreal Engine 4. So I mean, it's a puzzle game. You wouldn't think that, but
Good
no,
point. But if, on its face, it just always strikes me as like crazy to do 2D in 3D, even though when you look at what the graphics card is doing, the reality is that's basically what's already happening with our modern graphics cards.
Exactly, and it could even be a thing where they just throw a Power Stone type fighting game into the mix, where you customize moves and you can unlock that depending on what character that's in there. Like they introduced the Ninja Turtles, and so maybe there's a specific sword spin that only Leonardo can do, or he unlocks, and then it can apply with whatever pickaxe that you have equipped or something like that. So there's a lot of different gameplay game modes. Simbu, so I'm gonna feel free to answer any of the questions that I posed here, but my additional question for you is, and I'm asking you first and specifically, just with your pedigree of gameplay.
Can I interject before you ask that question?
No. But yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Just so you don't get away from, because I'd like to give you my opinion on the extra modes that they've put in and added, and I agree a lot with you with the super smart ingenious of let's go back. Oh gee, we've got the most players playing. Now we're going to introduce all of these things, try to keep them interested, draw new players in. 100%. I get it. It's not a bad idea. I also agree with what Stormrose said in the fact of like certain things like sports, of course, is like you said, is another big thing, right? A third of the players play sports games. It'd be a tough thing to do. I could see them trying it. And again, like multiple of you have said, they can't go about it and try to do like a realistic sports thing. That's just not going to work. You know, you got Maddens and Tiger Woods golf and all that stuff. It's got to be like a play off of it. But like, and like the Rocket League racing in Fortnite. So I think I'm the only one here who really plays Rocket League that much. It's not anywhere close to the game of Rocket League. It's literally a racing game, and Rocket League is not that at all. Pretty much all it does is you have your cars from Rocket League are in there. So and maybe a couple like moves or something, but it's a racing game as opposed to the soccer game that Rocket League is. So it's a little different. And I think before they try to add any more modes, they might want to try to build on the ones that they have added to make them better, to maybe keep players playing them or draw players into them a little bit more, saying, oh, we're improving this, try it again or something like that.
Kind of like what Storm was saying too, like let's add into the existing modes.
Yeah. So, I mean, not to say that they won't add more modes, but I feel like that's not, I don't feel that would be coming anytime soon, maybe down the road. I think if any of these new modes are doing well, they're going to want to make sure they build on those and do well so they keep the players playing those that like those modes. And but yeah, I think that's pretty much what I had to have to say about that.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes some good points there. Sorry, Simbu, go ahead.
Well, so yes, well, I just wanted to comment on Mobster's synopsis of Rocket Racing versus Rocket League. The reason, like I said, the thing is that while yes, the objectives in Rocket Racing and Rocket League are completely different, and the gameplay style is fairly different, there's a lot of core similarities between Rocket League and Rocket Racing, which is what they're trying to do, by bringing Rocket Racing to Fortnite, which try to bring some of those Rocket League players over to Fortnite and like, oh, hey, look, instead of, watching, somebody fly around the map and hit the ball into the goal 30 times before you even, move once. Here's an opportunity to potentially learn some of the mechanics for Rocket League in a setting that doesn't involve you also trying to defend a goal or score.
Yeah, I agree. I also, obviously, they're not gonna. It'd be dumb to put the same exact game of Rocket League in Fortnite, right? I mean, Epic owns both of them. If you want to play Rocket League, you're gonna play Rocket League, so you're not gonna put it in Fortnite. So it makes sense that it's a racing game, and which is fine. And like I agree with you, like you said, maybe draw some of your Rocket League players over to Fortnite to say, hey, give this a try. Or maybe you get players that play Fortnite that try Rocket League Racing, they like it, and you're like, oh, let me try Rocket League. I've never tried it before. And it maybe bring some new players from that way too. So I totally agree. And I don't think it should be the same because it wouldn't make sense, but wanted to just make sure that was clear that they're not the same game.
Yeah, and that makes sense because Rocket League and Fortnite are on their own separate financial ecosystems. You buy a pass in one, and it doesn't apply to the other. Is that right, Mobster?
No, it does. If I buy the Fortnite crew pack, I get the Rocket League Rocket Pass.
And that's new. It's only been in the last couple of seasons.
Right.
so just based on that, so not what's the difference between the Fork Knife Crew and the Battle Pass itself? Because for example, I purchased the Battle Pass, but I did not purchase the Fork Knife Crew.
Okay, the crew gives you a free, a skin that's not free. You're paying a monthly fee for the crew, but you're getting a skin every month, and you're getting 1,000 V-Bucks every month, and is there
current
more
battle
to it? I
pass.
mean,
So you're
yeah,
getting,
and
like you
when the
said,
battle passes come up, it covers your battle pass also. So you're getting little bonuses every month for being part of the crew, but it's a reoccurring in charge instead of waiting to get just a battle pass every single time. So
Gotcha. And both of those unlock the pass in Rocket League.
yes, and, the last few seasons chapters have had it where it unlocks the Rocket League pass also.
The Rocket League pass is more like the battle pass in my opinion, but you don't unlock the battle pass by buying the Rocket League pass. I don't think you get well, I guess technically you would.
No.
You buy the Rocket Pass, you would get the Fortnite crew pack, and you get the battle pass. So it's all together in one thing.
So right, so if you buy the Fortnite Battle Pass, you get the Battle Pass for Fortnite and Fortnite only. If you buy the Rocket League, crew pack, or Rocket League, Battle Pass, I'm gonna call it because I don't know what it's really called. You get just the Rocket League Battle Pass. Now, if you pay for the crew pack, which is $12 or $13, you get both for the current season.
So it's going to be the crew pack that's going to be the biggest benefit, especially if you can time the season change and essentially be able to try and get the skins for both seasons in that time frame. Because then you can do the Fork Knife Crew and then immediately, like, maybe wait a day or two and then cancel it, and you're paid up for the rest of the month, and now you've got 2 games and 2 seasons for that. So it's like almost the ultimate value.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Gaming
Simbu,
on a budget, people.
yes, you got to play
Yeah.
smarter, not harder. But Simba, one of the last questions I want to ask, because I see that Jason the 13th's running on fumes here for all of our friends catching us on YouTube. This one's kind of special to you first because of your gaming pedigree and your experience with Blizzard games. And I don't know if you've played what I'm going to reference here. I'm thinking you have, again, gaming pedigree. So 2-part question. First part is, do you think we see a chance of a Fork Knife 2 coming out at all? And either way, do you believe poor iterative launches like Overwatch 2 has scared Epic enough to avoid an actual official sequel?
Okay, so first question, and I'm gonna make it a big point real quick, nice and simple. We are on Fortnite like 25.
The original Fortnite version 28.502.
Right. So there is no Epic has with this, they have cracked a live service golden idol. They've cracked the Book of the Dead, okay? They for a live service format. They don't need a Fortnite 2. They really don't. I mean, when you see it go from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5, all the season changes, all the content updates, all the new modes, all the creative, like Fortnite and Epic with Fortnite has created a meta, a legitimate meta that can be ever growing, ever infinitely growing until people stop playing the game. So to bring out a official Fortnite 2 is pointless. It's absolutely pointless. It's nothing but wasted resources.
The only time that would happen is if people stop playing Fortnite. and then like, oh, hey, we'll bring number 2 out. But I mean, as long as it's continuously going and growing, and you got players playing, and which it is seems after they did the OG map and the new modes, they're having plenty of people play. There's no, I agree, no reason to.
And if they're smart enough, they learned from what Overwatch did, and they won't repeat that, because Overwatch released their number 2 and changed like everything and pissed everyone off.
Yeah, not to mention they totally disabled Overwatch 1. Oh, you now that Overwatch 2 is out, you cannot play Overwatch 1. They closed all the servers the day of Overwatch's 2's release.
Oh,
Feels like a
that's
blatant money grab. Gamers are pretty blind to a lot of that, but they'll notice that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Now there is now as we'll get into the potential quotation ethers here. If Fortnite or Epic wanted to do Fortnite and wanted to release a different game, this is where they would move into, they would move into like Skyrim territory. Like it would be, for example, Dead by Daylight is coming out with the casting of Frank Stone, which is going to be a narrative-driven game showing you the background to, I believe, the Trapper. I can't remember 100%, but again, people who know Dead by Daylight know that that's a 4v1, asymmetrical horror experience. Now, again, with this casting of Frank Stone, this is breaking into a narrative-driven single-player experience. Now, that is the only type of spin-off sort of avenue that Epic could go with Fortnite, but it wouldn't be called Fortnite 2. It would be called like Peely's Big Adventure or something. Because we all know how much Storm loves Peely.
Hey, the ice cream Peely is okay. Only because he's ice cream.
banana split.
Ice cream. Yeah. Ice cream. Anyway.
But again, at the same time, there's no reason other than a potential money grab for Epic to do something like that. They could literally just release that in Fortnite and go, "Hey, check this out. We're making our action adventure, debut kind of thing."
Yeah, and hitting the nail on the head, I feel, especially since they own the literal engine that allows them to iterate on whatever system and whatever thing that they would like. It's almost like that they can print money. They don't have to worry about something like what Bungie did with Destiny and having to make a sequel, Destiny 2, or they're not being a blatant money grabber, as I mentioned, with how Blizzard was with Overwatch 2. It's the core game. It'll run on almost near anything that's current. Sorry, Astrimedes, but yeah, it's something that's just really it can.
It ran.
It ran.
It ran like an old man.
It ran like an old man.
It ran fine, actually. I was impressed. It was just the loading that took a while.
The nice thing is, while you were loading, everyone else was sitting in the lobby waiting for the countdown to go from 59 to 0.
Emoting.
Yes, they're emoting and doing their Carlton dance from Fresh Prince,
or jumping off the island.
Yes.
So one of the last things that I literally will touch upon, and it's more like a cultural aspect, and I invite you, the audience, you the viewer, to respond in the comments below if you're watching us on YouTube, to kind of let us know if there was anything that you were introduced to just within the overall cultural lexicon that you didn't know about thanks to Forkknife. And this more applies to like our younger viewers, and because we were kind of talking about how there are some individuals where we've heard stories of, oh, who's the guy in that brown hat? Oh, that's Indiana Jones. Oh, I know him from Forkknife. Or the guy with the sunglasses and he's giving the thumbs up. He's holding the shotgun. Oh, That's Terminator. Oh yeah, I know him from Fortnite. So I encourage you, the audience, to let us know in the comments below, as well as anything else that we've discussed, like what you have gotten introduced to from Fortnite. Before we say I give our little outros here, do you guys have anything that you didn't know that was added into Fortnite that you hadn't seen before playing the game?
Hero Academia. I don't think I saw really before that. I mean, I've
That's one
heard
of my
it.
favorite animes.
I think so. Yeah, I think I heard of it, but I never really seen it. I didn't, it's probably some of the other anime stuff that they have in there. But other than that,
Actually, and Inferno Fox or Simbu will have to remind me of his name. I thought it was just a pure Fortnite created skin, to find out that we have a famous TikTok guy that got a skin in the game, which actually I like his skin. I don't remember his name, but it's the
Kabi LeMay.
There you go. I did not know who he was until they added him to Fortnite. If none of you would have told me it was a TikTok guy, I would have just thought it was a Fortnite skin.
I didn't play enough to see any references, but I had the distinct feeling I felt like the old man walking into like a teenage like dance club something when I started playing the game. How do I do this?
too funny.
So in other words, Astrimedes walked in with a broom and said, "Get off my lawn."
I walked in a broom and said, "Where should I be? I don't know."
And in previous seasons, there were literal dance clubs.
There were, and you had
Yep.
to you had to dance on the thing to keep, for your team to win. You had to clean the dance floor, and you had to stand there while it emoted and raise the disco ball. That was fun. Yeah, yeah, did some of those, and you know, out of all of us, I think I'm the only one that still plays any kind of build mode, and I play the Team Rumble. And let me tell you, the zero build coming out was a game changer, because I've been stuck in builds forever, and maybe some of my playing dropped off because of builds a little bit. I would go in Team Rumble, so it's at least, for those of you who don't know, it's a large team of 50v50. So, but you are building in that, so at least I keep some of my practice up. But the zero build has been great, because I'm not all that fast at building, and then there are people who have macros set up on their computers, so they press two buttons and they've got freaking towers in front of you and crap like that. And I don't like how people would trap you within buildings instead of shooting you, using any real skill for aiming. They would just build stuff on top of you to try to trap you, and it's like lame. Just lame.
It's funny. I played a couple Team Rumble matches before we jumped on here, and I will say that there is a lot less building in Team Rumble
Yes,
than I
there is.
remember a long time. Like when I first started playing and
Yep.
was doing Team Rumbles, like you would look at Team Rumbles back in late 2019-ish, somewhere around there, and it would look like the Fortnite FNCS Cups, like the big, massive tournaments with all the best players, and there'd just be builds all over the place, and you're like, wait, where am I?
Yep.
And now you see little forts, maybe like, little 3-4, piece structures, maybe a couple, 10 piece, 5-story structures, but nothing like it used to be.
No, I think there's a lot of bleed over from the zero builds into Team Rumble, because it's a good way to just, shoot people real quick. And I've noticed it too, there's a lot less building. I build a lot less because I'm used to just moving around and jumping around the walls. And now that you can mount the walls, which is fun, that you can mount the stuff that people have, or mantle the stuff people have created and scurry up the walls. It's kind of fun doing that. So, I think that's another reason why there's a little less. There's more stuff to move around as well. There's more zip lines. So that also helps a little bit of the building, but definitely not as much in Team Rumble, which I'm not upset about, because the building again is just a pain in the butt. It's nice to build defense walls though. Inferno Fox and I got stuck in a normal battle, Royale once a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. That's all a blur, but he did crack me up when he got impressed at how quickly it was able to build some walls as we were running. Like we're running, getting shot at, and I'm just building walls, and they're knocking them down, but just build and run, and you know, yeah, that was fun. So it's a long ramble. I'm sorry, guys. I blame the cold medicine. Yay, children.
I blame your inability to remember to slide.
No, we won't get into that.
Oh,
That's a whole different podcast for a whole different thing.
Had to say it at least once, though.
I know.
Next
Hey,
topic, Fortnite sliding. A whole
Yeah.
episode on it.
Hosted by Stormrosesky.
Oh
Uh.
God.
oh, Jason.
I will have a whole hour, don't you worry. I
Oh,
can
but
do
yeah,
it.
so hopefully this has been a lot of fun for you guys, our audience, as it has been for us, our cast and crew. And I definitely want to give a huge thank you to them. First and foremost, Storm Rose Sky of the Twitch and YouTube channels of Storm Rose Sky. Storm, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And two, what sort of new content do you got coming on your YouTube channel?
Thank you for having me. The next new thing, I do want to put together my own favorite video games, which is including clips of myself playing these games if I have them, because there's a trick. This Mrs. Pac-Man, this could be one of them, but oh, never mind. I just remembered something where I have that game. So, I'm working on doing something different than just the trailer thing, and this sickness has taken me out, and also working last week. That's where I got the sickness, so we'll see. It's gonna be a little bit.
Well, sometimes you got to get down with the sickness. And speaking,
Yeah, oh my God.
and speaking of sickness, Simbu Darkfang, thank you as well for joining us. He is our level 5 grandpa, a primary actor at Basement of the Dead. And I guess after this podcast, we have determined that he is the best player at Forknife BRs. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, I can see Mobster's not coming back on the show ever again. And that's probably a good thing. No.
Hey.
No, it's always a great time. Always fun being here. And everybody just remember, when you're in teams, mic check.
Yeah, what?
Also, we had Jason the 13th of the YouTube channel Jason the 13th. Jason, now that you've temporarily got your laptop back, does that mean you're going to be getting some new content for us on your YouTube channel of Jason the 13th?
I would like to. I got to sit down and take some time to record something at the moment. So, but once it's finally fixed, it'll be when I can actually really get back into recording some stuff.
And definitely going to look forward to getting a lot of that in. And also a big thanks to Mobster for joining us here on the Fork Knife Chat. Mobster, thanks for jumping in here. Hope you had a good time as much as we did.
Yeah, of course, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to discuss some video games that I enjoy playing, since I don't play too many of them, and tear down Simbu over there and let him know he's not the best.
Hey, that's a 1v1 box fight, bro. 1v1 box fight.
Now that ball drops in there.
You're still trash.
Oh, you boys. Speaking of boys, Astrimedes, thank you so much for joining us, our resident developer and co-owner of Second Place Games. Any updates on getting Horde Lord to current gen Android systems?
Yeah, I've actually got most of the work done. There's just a couple annoying things that are going to take a bit more testing. And actually, based on Simbu's comment on the tutorial, it actually made me realize there is a bug in the new version's tutorial that doesn't explain, like it disappears immediately without explaining what it's supposed to explain. So him pointing that out to me actually revealed that, oh, he didn't understand the movement because it basically skips that section immediately. As soon as the image appears, you don't actually get to see what it shows. And now I understand what his comment was. So I've got a few more kind of issues to work out with it, but actually one of the more difficult tasks is actually mostly out of the way at this point as of a couple of weeks ago. So just kind of slowly chugging along on that. New free version of Horde Lord should be out, realistically sometime, hopefully the next like 2 months, something like that. I've been having to kind of skill up for some unrelated, ungame tech stuff for work reasons with some of my personal time these days. So not quite as much time between that and important work like playing 5 matches of Fortnite. I've had less time to work on Horde Lord.
Oh, too funny. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Once you get that up, I'll make sure to include a link to it in the description section of the podcast as it appears in YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere where you get your podcasts. And last but not least, just again, a big thank you as well to Jamie Owls, my partner and partner in crime, for joining us. I know Fork Knife really isn't your cup of tea, but we appreciate you being able to join us here, and I appreciate you grabbing me the water bottle in the middle of the podcast. Thank you, Jamie Owls.
Yeah, no problem. And you may see me on there after we talked about this, because now I'm a little intrigued.
I'll have to point out how to get that downloaded on your Switch.
Yeah.
Just steal and play on Glenn's PS5 when he's gone.
Yeah. Get some
Yep.
practice.
I could probably see Jamie Owls really enjoying the Fortnite Lego with the building and the exploration.
I would have no idea what I'm doing, but
Yeah, and the game's probably got enough tutorials to be able to get you going. And I know Storm, Simbu, Jason, Storm's husband has played a lot of the Lego, and they could guide you. So maybe that'd be a good entrance point. So, but anyway, again, and last but not least, huge thank you to you, the audience, for listening, checking us out. The next podcast, of course, will be up next Tuesday evening. So make sure you check it out where podcasts are found, bought, sold, and distributed. Thanks again, and have a great day.